Hey guys, so before we begin, I'd just like to say that you will need to have already been rooted, not rooted, but at least have TWRP on your device already, and this tutorial will cover from that point and on. So we will not be showing you how to root your phone here or install TWRP. I'll leave a link down below to another video I've made that explains how to root and install TWRP on your G3, pretty much any model, and I'll gladly help you out over there. So from this video, you'll learn how to flash MultiROM and add ROMs to it, and that's it. So without any further ado, let's go. Hello and welcome back to another video. Today I'll be showing you how to install MultiROM in your LG G3 here. In this case, mine's the D855 model, but don't worry, this supports more models than you think, about 5 I think. If we scroll down here, it supports the D850, D851, D855, the LS990, and the VS985. So today I'll be showing you how to do all of this, and hopefully it goes well for you guys, and I had to experiment a lot with this to get it working the way it should. So to start, I'll provide all the links that I've used here below, and you just download the one that fits your device's model. So first link here is for the MultiROM files that we need. I'm going to go ahead and link this down here. So head over to the second post and you're going to see the downloads here, and just scroll down to whichever model that you are or have. In this case, I'll need the files for the D855, so I'm going to be downloading the MultiROM version 32. It could be 33 at any point, but the current recording was 32, and you can just middle mouse button click on these to open a new tab, and you're going to need the modified recovery, and you might need this, but hopefully you don't, because you like MultiROM. So this will take you to 2 links here, which will give you MultiROM, like the actual, I would say, software, and just download that. And on the other tab here, we have the specific TWRP recovery for MultiROM use. So hit download that as well. Now make sure you download the one for your model, because there are a lot of different ones there for yours, just so you don't screw anything up. So just hit download those. And where you want to save them is somewhere where you know where it is. So I'm going to make a new folder on a drive and call it Android. And I'm going to save everything in that folder. That's the MultiROM done. And I'm going to download the TWRP in that same Android folder here as well. I'm going to hit save, and that might take a while. We won't need these tabs anymore. We'll leave this MultiROM window up just in case. Next thing you'll need is... Actually, you won't need this, which is good. You won't need any ADB or fast boot in this case. What else we'll need? We'll need 777 John's custom kernel for AOSP ROMs. I'll provide a link to that as well. And I'm just going to download it from Basket Build. So this is the kernel that we need for MultiROM to run off, I guess, to be compatible with the KEXE I think hard boot patch. So just download the one for your device here. There are a lot here, as you can see, and mine is the 32GB D855. So I'm going to hit download, and scroll down, and then hit download with PF5. This shouldn't take too long. And while that's downloading, we shall go over to the next thing. So I want to talk about this. The way I've done it is that I've installed an AOSP ROM first as my main ROM, because I haven't actually tried it out with a stock-based ROM as being the primary or internal version of Android. So for this video, the video's purpose, I'm going to stick with an AOSP main ROM rather than a stock ROM. I'll experiment later and I'll make another video if I get that working properly. So again here, just save it to your Android folder so we're all together. And so yeah, you want to find any AOSP ROM that could be, in this case, BlissPop, Paranoid Android. Oh, there's some pretty cool ones out there. Any that is based off AOSP. In this case, I'll be using the BlissPop ROM. So download this and the Google Apps. If you're looking for Google Apps, just head over to basketbuild.com and /gaps. I have it here. I'll provide a link to that in the more info as well. So basically, you can find all the gaps here. I think they're pretty much full versions of gaps, but not one for 5.1. I'm sure you can get away with using the 5.0. If not, I'll provide a different link for the Google Apps, or usually you can find the link for Google Apps here on the ROM page here, gaps right there. So be sure to look for one that's compatible with your ROM and one that they recommend, which is probably the best choice to use. I already downloaded a few of these ROMs, so I'll just be using the ones I've downloaded, but I'll be using BlissPop in this case. Next thing you want to do, some people like the stock thing, like it for the camera and other various stock features like multi-window. Using my method, you'll be able to run a stock ROM as a secondary, and if you choose to do so, if you don't want to run a stock ROM, you can just download another AOSP ROM and just flash it. I'll show you in the process later, but if you feel like doing a stock ROM, just download any stock ROM here. My personal favorite is Cloudy, and just download it here. It's about 1.5 gigs, so it'll take a while. So you just hit download on that, and yes, it is 1.37 gigs. So I've already downloaded that, no worries. And this is another kernel that I don't think we'll need to use, in fact. If we do, I'll let you know. But I think we should just go ahead and download this. Actually no, we won't need it. And if you're using stock ROM, you would need to download the TWRP kernel that is compatible with this. This is only for the D855, which is not that good, but I think we should be able to find another one. I'll put the link down below, but you'll need a stock kernel as well if you plan on running stock as a secondary ROM. So if you're on the D855 or whatever, just download your stock kernel, and I'll just have to download this one. It is, okay, mine's a 3 GB one. Yeah, so I'll put a link down below for a stock kernel that isn't just for the D855. Alright, and then we just hit download. And just save it in the Android folder. So I'll be back when all this is finished downloading. Regarding about that stock kernel, it is apparent that it is only for the D855 that can dual boot both stock and AOSP. At this point, I do believe they're working on a stock kernel for all devices here from the MultiROM thread. If I quickly have a look on one of the last pages, I did hear them talking about working on a new kernel. Okay. Yeah, so I think people are going to try it anyway. So yeah. Okay, so if you're running anything other than the D855, I would not recommend flashing a stock ROM as your secondary, but for this video's purpose, I will try it, well, we'll do it anyway, and also show you 2 different AOSP ROMs as well. So once you have everything downloaded, you'll see in your Android folder. If we have a look, you can minimize or close your internet browser. We've finished downloading everything pretty much. So I also have a collection of ROMs, so here are a few, just a few, to name a few. Everything's pretty organized. Oops, not tools. ROMs. So as I said, I will be using the crap, I don't have it. I was going to use BlissPop, but that won't be the case anymore. Sorry if I've misled anyone, but you can use any AOSP ROM, so I'm going to be using the Resurrection Remix Lollipop. This is a pretty good ROM in my opinion, and I'm going to be using, let's just use the CyanogenMod 12, I'm going to copy that over as well. And then last thing you also need is your Google Apps. Just your 5.1 gaps. Usually all these are based on 5.1 anyway. So you're going to have, a lot of files, or depending on how many ROMs you want on your on your phone. And last thing I'm going to copy over is also the Cloudy G3 ROM. Just for show, if you're not on the D855, sorry you can't do this at this moment. I will update the video if there is a way to use stock ROMs on any other device model. Just because the kernels haven't been developed for it just yet and have the hard boot patch on it. So all these files you will need to have downloaded. Well, sorry, you'll need the AOSP 777 kernel. You need your AOSP ROM, which is either CyanogenMod 12 or BlissPop, Resurrection Remix. You'll need the MultiROM file for your device. Mine is D855. And you'll also need MultiROM for your device as well. And of course Google Apps. And if you're on the D855 and want to try stock ROM as a secondary, you'll also need the TWRP kernel for the D855, depending on your 16 or 32 gig, and you also need a stock ROM. We don't need it, but if you want to. So with all these downloaded, just pretty much plug in your device into your computer, and you can begin copying everything to your phone. So that's going to pop up. It's going to open it in a file browser. Buzz. Okay, so I'm going to put everything on my SD card. You can see it's got some stuff here. I'm just going to put it all on the root directory. So this shouldn't take too long, maybe 10 minutes, because the cloudy G3 ROM is actually huge for some reason. Pretty much stock ROMs are huge anyway. So I'm going to let all this copy, and then we'll start walking through all this. Alrighty, so at this point we want to restart our phone into recovery, and to do that we're going to power off our device here, and we're going to go through the old method of doing things instead of using ADB all the time. So when your phone fully shuts off, you want to kind of visualize this with me. You want to hold the power button and volume down and until the LG screen comes up, and then once you see the LG screen, all you need to do is let go for a brief second and put it back on. So like this. So hold it, and we're going to see LG, let go, and then hold on again to the same buttons. And after a while we should get to a screen, factory data reset. You want to hit yes, and you want to hit yes again. Now this is the part where we're going to flash our ROMs, and you're going to have to do this in a specific order. So yeah. First things first, we want to install the MultiROM TWRP. So I'm going to go ahead and press, I should say something. So go to install, and then hit up here the storage, and then change it to the external SD, and then scroll down and find your MultiROM TWRP. Mine's at the bottom, and you just want to confirm that flash, and it's going to flash that, and you want to go back again, and hit reboot, and then recovery. That'll just take you back into recovery without having to press those buttons again. So that should be pretty quick. Alright, so looks like it's almost done. Now that we're back into our MultiROM TWRP, you want to hit install. Actually, no. You want to, so this is the part where we're going to flash our AOSP ROM. So swipe to factory reset, hit back. Notice that will not delete any of your existing data like photos and videos and stuff on your internal SD card. Next we want to flash our, so I want to go ahead with Resurrection Remix being our base ROM. So flashing these ROMs don't take too long. And we'll hit back. And now we're going to flash MultiROM. Sorry, we're going to flash Google Apps, because that's what we need. This won't take too long either. Done. And third thing we want to flash is now MultiROM. Just swipe that flash. Alright, back. And last thing we want to flash is the kernel. And swipe to flash that. So to my belief, every time you want to go to another ROM, it will boot off that kernel as well, unless you flash one over it. So that's it for our initial MultiROM thing. And to see if this works, we're going to hit reboot and system. And right now we should be able to see the MultiROM menu come up after this, after the LG splash screen. Here we are. I'm going to tap on the screen to dismiss that auto boot. And as you can see here, we have our menu here. Internal ROM is, you can rename that, but that is our Resurrection Remix. And next, external, you can actually plug in a USB on the go, a USB here, and boot off a USB, which is pretty cool. And also our miscellaneous, we can copy our log in case anything goes wrong. We can reboot into recovery of the bootloader, just restart, or we can shut down our phone. And of course, we can change the colors here. I like purple. Okay. So I want to go back into recovery now. So this is just to test that MultiROM has been installed properly. and we are now going to go ahead and flash our secondary and third ROM. But of course the third ROM will only be available for those using the D855 for now. We'll make an updated video if something comes out for the rest of our versions on different models. So next thing you want to do is, if you want to add a ROM, you go to Advanced at the bottom, and then you hit MultiROM, and then you click on Add ROM, internal memory, Android, or if you have a USB on the go adapter and you want to install on that, that's fine. I don't have one, but I just like to put everything on the internal storage anyway. So here we can choose from a backup, zip file, or side load. So I'm going to use a zip file, and still on the external SD, we're going to be flashing. Where is our here, CyanogenMod 12, just flash. So basically, to prepare this, they copy it to a temporary directory, and then they start doing the normal process of flashing a ROM. And after we flash the ROM, we're going to flash the Google Apps again. Hit back, and to flash anything onto the ROM, you go back into that advanced multi-ROM menu, the way we did to get to this screen, and you hit list ROMs, and then you can see I already have existing ROMs here, that we really don't want that. We should delete these. So these are from my previous happenings. So all you should see, if this is your first time doing this, of course, is just this one CyanogenMod 12 ROM list here, the one we just installed. So if you tap on it, you can rename it, you can delete it, and you would run restore con if every time you go into the Play Store it keeps on crashing. So if that happens, I'll show you how to do that. And also flash zip and sideload. So for now we want to flash our Google Apps here. So we just hit flash and flash our Google Apps. And you'll notice that here it says it's flashing onto the CM12.1 ROM. So that's it. Okay, we're going to add one more thing, and this is for the D855 only. If you're done here at the moment, you're on the D85051, you can just restart your phone here, going back and hitting reboot system. And then all you need to do is, when it has auto boot, just tap on the screen somewhere to dismiss it and select the ROM that you want to boot into. And that's about it. So for now, installing a stock ROM, we'll need to do a few things here. You just need to go add ROM, internal memory, zip file, and we're going to add Cloudy G3. So this is assuming that you've downloaded a stock ROM and the ChubbaChubs kernel, only available for the D855 for now. So this will prepare the zip file, copy it over. It is about 1 GB, so it is, a bit big. It might take a while. Alright, so the ROM installer took some time to get up, so you would want to select the D855, hit next. I don't like sharpening, so just configure stuff to the aroma installer. Don't need all that. Nah, we're pretty bare bones, I guess. Yeah, that'll do. And install now. So this part won't take that long, and this is our standard installation for this. But if you're still watching now and you don't have a D855, you're gonna see the reboot menu with all our ROMs on it anyway. So at this point, once it reaches 90%, it should just hang there and not do anything. And that is where we need to take some evasive action, you could say. And that is when we're going to, so that's the part where I get stuck installing the kernel, because there are some issues. I've always had issues when installing the kernel or a boot image to the, like a secondary or third ROM. So that's removing stuff, we're doing some patches, and now flashing kernel, you're going to see it's going to get stuck here for a very long time. So what you want to do, once it reaches flashing kernel, just want you to take off the back and pull the battery. Don't worry, this should be 95% safe, and put it back in. And you want to manually boot back into the recovery. So again, we're going to hold this until it goes LG, and let go, and then press it again to get into our factory data reset menu, and just hit yes for both of them. And you can put your cover back on now. And that should get us into TWRP. So now the next thing you want to do is go to Advanced, MultiROM, List ROMs, our cloudy ROM, and we're going to flash the ChubChub's kernel, wherever it may be, over here, onto our cloudy ROM. You can see it actually does flash the kernel, and we are done here now, boys, or peoples, fellas, and we're going to restart our system completely. And now we're going to see our MultiROM menu, which is pretty cool. In a few seconds. If not, then definitely something messed up. But it just didn't turn on. I guess if it gets stuck again, you just need to pull out the battery and try again. Okay. There we are. So I've dismissed that, and now you can see how we have our internal ROM, which is our first ROM that we flashed, our Resurrection Remix. Second one is our Cloudy. It's alphabetical order. Well, the second one was CyanogenMod 12, and the third one is Cloudy. So that's it, guys, for this video. I'm just going to boot into one, and we'll see how it goes. How about CyanogenMod? So that is our third ROM. So thanks guys for watching, and this is how you install MultiROM in your LG G3 on at least 4 or 5 different variants. I'll leave all the links down below as usual, and be sure to subscribe if you'd like to see more. And also, if you have any questions down below, just put in +MaowDroid, my YouTube name, in your comment, so I can most definitely reply to you. Because some of it's a bit messed up, and you can't reply to some comments you can, and all that kind of fun stuff that Google has done to us. But if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below or shoot me an email. Though I'm less likely to check my email than YouTube. So yeah, you can leave a comment anywhere, and also subscribe. I think I've said this, if you'd like to see more of these, and like this video if it helped you in any way, shape or form. And I'll hope to talk to you guys in the next one.